It's Culturama time again. I am Lee Coyne, and this is my special guest, Seth Allen.
Seth Allen, yes.
I have it right, Allen, not Allen. So we're going to go into the art of theater today, and we're going to find out about Seth's illustrious background and what brought him into the world of theater and how he has brought to life, resurrected, before Easter even, the Verona Studio over in the Reed Opera House.
Yeah.
So once upon a time you were born in?
Once upon a time I was born in Santa Barbara, California.
What was it like?
Well, I only stayed there for a few months before we moved south to just outside of Los Angeles, a town called Thousand Oaks. And so that's where I grew up. Yeah. There was a fantastic youth theater there. The reason I started doing theater was because I had a speech impediment. I had a terrible stutter, terrible lisp, and my speech education teacher suggested to my mother that I audition for a play.
Isn't that like Demosthenes in the old Greek thing, that he put pebbles in his mouth and he learned to talk?
The pebbles, yeah, and that's how he spoke clearly. A lot of classically trained British actors did the same thing
Oh, I beg
as
your
well.
pardon. Right, too. Anyway, so do you remember some of the early plays you attended that might have inspired and uplifted you and bit you?
Well, I didn't see a lot of theater before I did theater, because I wasn't expecting to get into that first show, which I was cast in. Luckily, that as most community theaters, we needed males, so I'm sure, great, you're a male, a young boy, get in, and I was a spear carrier or something like that. And
what was the play?
Well, it was called A Christmas Carol, so I wasn't
yeah.
a spear carrier, but
Okay.
I was one of the Cratchit children. And so that's really that's where I got bit by the bug, as you say. So I pretty much did theater from there on out.
As an actor?
As an actor.
Okay. Were you more dramatic or more comedy, or what was
Well, starting off, it was dramatic. There wasn't really we kind of were at the whim of whatever shows the group was doing. So one day I'd do Aladdin, the next time, then we were doing The Crucible, then we were doing musicals. So I was lucky that there was a fantastic youth theater there called the Young Artists Ensemble in Thousand Oaks, and they had fantastic training, fantastic teachers. They had a very professional attitude to teaching children how to the basics of theater.
Wow.
So I was
what
very
are
lucky.
some of the challenges that a young actor faces? A lot of us out there in the audience have seen young actors, but they haven't been in your shoes.
Yeah, well, for theater, just learning the basics of proper theater etiquette, I think, is first.
Give us some
just being
examples.
quiet backstage. Not touching other people's props. Right. That's another huge.
That's a no-no.
Learning your lines, learning your songs, knowing stage left, stage right. Just the basics, enunciation with your voice and things like that.
Now, you have a wardrobe person, you have lighting, you have somebody who pulls the curtain up and close. You have sound equipment people, I guess.
Sure, yeah, most theaters. So the Verona Studio is a small nonprofit black box theater in Salem.
How many seats, roughly?
There's 60 seats.
Okay,
so
it's a mini theater in a way.
The concept is black box, and black box comes from the concept came up in the 70s where people wanted to do more creative spaces. So they were using storefronts and garages, and they were painting everything black, not much larger than the studio, and they weren't focusing on sets and costumes, but focusing on the scripts, the acting, and the spaces are very intimate. So oftentimes we were this close, the actor to.
I grew up in New York City, and mainly in Queens, and attended a lot of, they called it off Broadway.
Yeah.
Upper West Side, a lot of things I remember on my first. Well, I remember seeing a lot of Molière, Tartuffe.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And The Good Doctor, or The Doctor in Spite of Himself, and some of those type early George Bernard Shaw, Arms of the Man.
Yeah.
Arsenic and Old Lace, some of the old standards. And
After California, I trained in New York. I went and I lived there for almost 4 years. No, it was fun. I did I did the Starving Artist, living on people's couches and studying at a studio for almost 4 years. 3.5
And
years.
were you associated with any particular theater there?
I studied with the T. Schreiber Studio, and then I did a lot with, there's a company out there called Inverse Theater, The Looking Glass. I went on a national tour with Biggs Rossetti Shakespeare Company.
Wow.
And then...
I go back to Joseph Papway, another era.
Sure. No, that's a huge name, huge name out there. So it was great training. It was great training and had a great time, and eventually moved back to the West Coast, and then had to kind of take a break. Moved up here, and got sucked back in. So
Now your theater is more attuned to drama than musicals, I gather, right?
it is, except we are doing our very first musical.
Oh, which one?
It's called "Marry Me a Little" by Stephen Sondheim, and it opens April 1st. It's a limited run, April 1st through April 9th.
I think I'd like to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be really great. We have our performers are top notch in this
I
one.
have a little secret to share with you.
That's it.
I have been obsessed by Broadway musicals since my teenage days, probably, and because I can't go out to New York and pay those prices, I now have a collection of about 170 videos alphabetically from A Chorus Line, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, All That Jazz, Alexander's Ragtime Band, Merkin in Paris, all the way to Xanadu and Yankee Doodle Dandy.
That's fantastic.
Alphabetically.
Really?
So if you ever want to invade my place or borrow some of the
Absolutely.
stuff.
What are some of your favorites?
Well, Carousel, what we did earlier today, is one of my favorites. I do like Rars and Hammerstein stuff. I still want to see some of the things I have not seen, like Anchors Away, this lesser known thing like Mario Lanza, Because of You. I like Annie Get Your Gun. That was one of the first plays I saw. Quick with the Trigger with Talk Not Much Bigger Than a Pinpoint, the number one. And Doing It What Comes Naturally and all. That was, because Annie Oakley was a real tomboy of her day.
Sure. Yeah.
And she
Sharpshooter.
kind of crossed swords or crossed rifles with her boyfriend that she was sweet on. But anyway, and I've been to Verona. I've been to your Enlightened Theater company. You're not quite your rival, but you're...
No, Vincentio, who runs Enlightened Theatrics, they do a completely different... We're able to coexist.
Right.
And actually, we're all working on... we're in the Salem Theater Network, which is something that's new, and we're trying to raise everybody's attendance and audience.
I'm wondering whether there has been any connection with high schools, and we have 3 colleges in the area, to try to get students to attend it and maybe even write critiques or essays of it for their English class. I don't know if that's ever been tried. I'm just popping off the top of my
Yes,
mind.
some of our shows are attended by Willamette University, Western University. They will come out. I don't think Corbin has, but at Willamette, which is also a huge theater school, one of the
I know Andrew Tony there.
Okay, yeah, one of the theater teachers over there has directed for us in the past, and then we got some students from them coming out to see Blonde Poison, which we did last year. And then at Western, we had a group come over, and from Chemeketa actually as well.
Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we are trying to do some outreach that way.
Do you also do performances during summertime when kids are on vacation?
We slow down in the summertime. We end our last show in May, and then our first show of the season starts in September. So we're rehearsing in July at the space, but we don't have anything performing until usually until September. But we do some outreach projects with the Salem Art Association.
Yes.
Some readings and things like that that are co-produced between the two outfits. That are it's pretty. It gets a new audience for us and pulls an audience into the art association as well. So it's a good.
So Seth, just to get the audience familiar, let's say some people out there have never been to Verona Studio in the Reed Opera House.
Sure.
Give us a little synopsis of the last 2 or 3 plays that you've presented and what their themes were
Sure.
and how they played out the play.
Sure. So the first show of the year was called Dead Man's Cell Phone, and now although we are doing some more challenging material,
Yes.
that doesn't mean modern. Although we do a lot of modern material, you know, we did a Chekhov play last year. We did Uncle Vanya, right? Which is a very there's provocative pieces in that.
Oh, there definitely is.
And things that register now. So we did Dead Man's Cell Phone, which is kind of a it was kind of an exploration of communication in the modern age. Basically, a woman and a man are sitting in a diner, and the man actually dies while he's eating soup. And his phone rings. She picks it up and kind of gets pulled into his life through his cell phone.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
Dig
fun.
that, man.
And then
Could happen to you.
that's right. And then we did we try and do a one-person show each year, and we did one called it's slipping my mind. Anyway, we'll skip that.
Yes.
The one after that, we just closed a show called True West by
Yes.
Sam Shepard.
Tell us a little about Sam Shepard, because
Sure.
not some people who are in
Yeah.
the theater know, but what kind of reputation does Sam Shepard have?
Well,
as a playwright?
Sam Shepard came up in the 70s
He's an interesting
in
character.
New York and San Francisco as a playwright. Now, most people know him as an actor, you know, a lot of westerns and things like that. But he has this. He's one of the most. He's a very successful American playwright, classic American playwright. He came up through. He did shows in San Francisco at the Majestic. He did shows a lot with Steppenwolf in Chicago.
Yeah.
And True West is probably one of his his better known shows, and it's about two brothers, one who is a semi-successful screenwriter, and one who is the older brother who's a delinquent that kind of lives in the desert and robs houses and stuff. They come back to their mother's house when the mother's out of town, and just butt heads. So it's all of his stories are mostly family
They're
stories.
psychological.
They're psychological family stories, often with a father character who is sometimes not actually in the show, but is a shadow.
Overview.
Above the script. So he's one of my favorite playwrights, and you know, I was lucky enough. I was in that one, so that's one of the plays that I've always wanted to do, and so off the bucket list.
And what's on the agenda for the next show?
The next show is the musical Marry Me a Little, which is a special project. We don't usually do the musicals, but we are trying something new. And then our last show of the year is a show by John Patrick Shanley called Danny in the Deep Blue Sea. And that's a two-person play. Auditions are actually next week, the 19th and the 16th, I believe, the 15th, something like that.
Yeah, I don't think we'll be on the air by then, but
Okay. Yeah, and that's a fantastic John Patrick Shanley show.
so tell me what's a little bit about the theme and
Of that one?
the conflictual
Sure, it's only two people.
situation.
It's a man and a woman, both very distrustful of human contact.
Collective paranoia.
And you know, they both have their issues. The man has been very violent and is often called the animal by his friends, and the woman has had some pretty physical abuse in her past. So they meet, and it's just them, both wounded, trying to make a connection. It's beautifully written.
Okay, this is something for anybody who has known anybody who has been an abuse survivor. I hate to use the word victim, because some of us become like phoenixes and we rise above and we reconstitute who we are. And we develop new coping skills. Once we've stumbled, we pick ourselves up and go back. And I guess there's a little of that in this play too.
Sure, yeah.
Resiliency, that's the word.
Yeah,
So-
it's beautifully written.
So those of us who, Seth, who need to have that extra battery charge when we're feeling like we're low on a cell phone about to flake out, here's your chance to rekindle your batteries inwardly, and like the Easter time coming up, you resurrect within.
Yeah.
Is that a
Sounds
apt
good.
way to put it?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, I like to use analogies.
Yeah.
My fixation fixation and all.
It works.
Now, I want to ask a little bit about inside the theater. How do you go about choosing a play to present?
Well-
What's the process like?
Well, our show, we're a nonprofit. We have a small board.
Yes.
But our process is fairly informal for choosing shows. We all read a lot of plays, and then they just kind of they distill down. You know, we have some limitations with our space. We can't have something that has a huge cast.
Of course.
We can't have something that has a ton of scene changes or costume heavy or anything like that. But we're getting very good at really seeing the shows that we're able to do and being creative with some of the other ones with more extravagant pieces to it. So we look for pieces that are challenging. We look for diversity in our scripts, and those are part of our mission at the Verona Studio.
When did the Verona Studio first
The Verona
give
Studio.
birth or was born?
So I decided to produce and direct a show on just kind of on my own, seat of my pants, called Lonesome Hollow by Lee Blessing. It was a very challenging script. I had to rent the space after a comedy club, so the show didn't start till 10 o'clock. But people liked it. People liked being challenged by this script, and it was downtown Salem, which I don't think Enlightened was even there yet. So there wasn't any downtown theater.
I think several years ago, a guy named Chip Conrad was.
Yeah, it was his space.
Oh, okay.
So I was renting
I
from
just remember that name
Chip Conrad's comedy club, and so I went on. So we did our show after theirs. After that show, my partner in Verona Studio named Randall Tosh.
I know Randall. He used to be city attorney.
Yep. He came up to me. Yeah, long flowing beard. He approached me with another friend of his, and we decided to start the Verona Studio. So we're at the end of our second season now.
Good.
We're having a great time and really trying to do some good work and moving forward.
Okay. Now let's talk to the audience out there, and you have people who are volunteers and helping.
Yeah.
Not only ushers, but people who can do lighting or costumes.
Yeah,
wardrobe.
lighting, costumes, backstage, concessions.
Okay.
If you're at all interested, go ahead and contact us at theveronastudio@yahoo.com or our website, which is www.theveronastudio.com.
Got that?
You can go to our website. There's plenty of links. You can get on our mailing lists and get involved, even if you're just curious and have no experience.
Yeah. On your
contact us.
website, and I've been to your website, do you have a sort of a preview with pictures of the actors to be of the next play?
We do have that, and then we also have a full photo gallery of our past shows as well, with the posters and who was on the crew, who directed it.
Okay, and I'm going to do a little retrospect with you now, Seth Allen. Of all the shows that you've been part of, either as a director, producer, or actor, which was the most challenging one in your lifetime so far? This is all unrehearsed, so he doesn't
The
know
most
about it.
challenging one, there was a show called Equus that I did. That was challenging, but to be quite honest with you, the show that we just closed, True West, was not only one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had on stage, but it was also one of the hardest. So yeah, and we just finished it last weekend, so it's fresh in my memory. Other than that, there's been a couple musicals that were, challenging, but probably.
I
those
wonder
two.
if there's some way where the crew here from CCTV could come down and do an excerpt from one of your plays and kind of show it to the audience. And
Yeah,
could do that.
there's someone that works here that he volunteers his time over at our theater as well, and
Not Chuck.
no, it's Jason.
I've heard that name.
Yeah. So, and we've kind of discussed maybe doing some something interesting, a documentary about the beginning to the end of the theatrical process.
Okay.
Something like that.
Now, I'm going to mention something about my background because it could tie in with maybe a special deal which you may consider. Gerontology, dealing with the aging, has been my special interest. since 1975. First job with the Senior Center in New York. Anyway, I'm wondering, you have a play that happens during May?
During May, yes.
Okay. May is Senior Citizen Month. Is it possible, you don't have to answer me now, that you can give a certain discount on the first week of May to senior citizens to beef up your treasury and get a bigger crowd?
That would be something that I obviously would have to take to our board.
Okay, consider that. And you could publicize in the three senior centers here in town. And you might even be able to go to some of the retirement homes and see if they could stage theater parties as well.
Sure. Yeah, we're always open to new outreach opportunities and fundraising and just reaching a new crowd. We think we have something for most people.
And I congratulate you on taking the gumption and gusto of trying a musical for the first time. We'll see how that comes along. What instruments go into the music in the musical? You have a little band on the side?
No, it's a very simple. It's just a keyboard. It's just one keyboard, yeah.
Okay.
Played by Sarah Greenleaf, who's a local teacher.
I know her, yeah.
Yeah.
From Kaiser. She comes from
Yeah.
one of the churches
Yeah,
too.
she's
And her
fantastic.
husband's a cellist.
Yeah,
Know
no,
that?
they're both really good friends of mine.
Okay.
Very
yes.
good.
Tell them I say hello.
I will.
Yeah.
And then we also have Amy Cheffetz Billing, who's going to be singing in the show, and then Jeff Witt, both well-known performers and teachers. And it's directed by Deborah Johansson, who is also
So
local.
You got to get a hold of either Tom Rastrelli or Carly Wright from
Oh, they
Statesman
both
Journal.
know.
So that
They both are aware of it for sure.
okay. And is there any particular slant you would like if you could design the publicity, the promotion for your next show,
For our next show,
the one about the married?
oh, Marry Me a Little.
Marry Me a Little,
It's I think the biggest thing about this one is that it's a Stephen Sondheim show, which he's
Well known.
possibly the master of Broadway, right? But it's one that's not done very often, and it's a little bit. The tone is romantic, but a little bit sad, and it's about two people who are alone in a New York apartment, right next to each other. They don't know each other is there, and they're talking about being alone and by themselves on a Saturday night in New York City, but there's just one wall separating them. So it's sad, but it's beautiful at the same time.
Okay. So all your singles out there, or people who had been single earlier, this is a good chance for you to brush up on your skills as articulated by the actor and actress there.
Or ask somebody out and bring them to the show.
Right. And that has a good discussion over beer, whiskey, or
Or wine.
or coffee, if that be your
Sure.
predilection.
Or all four.
Also, once that would be quite a potpourri.
Yeah.
A witch's brew and all. So, I would like to use the time remaining. What advice would you have for people who aspire to go into the theater, either as direct acting actresses or people who think that they would perhaps even be playwrights?
I'd say that there are so many different opportunities within theater, backstage, on stage, writers, as you say, so many different disciplines, different artistic disciplines, that if you are at all interested, do it, because it's been I've spent most of my life in it, and it's been
Rewarding.
amazingly rewarding, and continues to be, and I'm constantly learning and constantly being surprised by the talent in Salem.
Okay. I'm going to issue a challenge now. I haven't done this to audience before. If your life seems dull and drab, you need a little spark of excitement, with Easter on the horizon, which is supposed to be the opportunity to salute, honor the resurrection of Christ. Resurrect yourself within, recharge your spiritual insides, and get involved in theater, even if it's just for one play or one season. Get in touch with Seth Allen. It's the Verona Studio.com.
Yes.
Okay. And if you want to be an usher there, you could see a play from the outside and then discuss it with your friends and your family.
Yep.
So if you want to sign up to be an usher, How is that done?
Just go to the website and contact me at theveronastudio@yahoo.com, which
Good.
is the email.
Yeah, I've been an usher at the Pentacle, not the Pentacle, the Elsinore briefly, and before that for many years at Salem Chamber Orchestra, which is now extinct.
Yeah.
But I miss them. But
We're also on Facebook and Twitter, so there's lots of ways to find us and engage with us.
okay. Have you ever had a kind of an audience feedback or forum after a show as to what did it is?
Yeah, in fact, Tom and Carly from the Statesman Journal do the little cafe thing.
Right.
And for our last, for the, let's see, it would have been the show before True West, our opening night, they were there, and then they hosted a little talk back with audience members. It was quite successful, and we've done it a couple times when we knew that there were student groups there. Yeah, and it's great. It's great for not only the audience, but it's great for the actors and the director, you know, to kind of get a little bit of feedback.
Okay. Now, marry me a little. What's the opening date of the show?
April 1st.
April 1st,
Yeah.
April Fool's
April
Day.
Fool's Day.
So all of you, I may wear my April Fool's hat.
Sure,
I
yeah.
have one from the Mardi Gras because I was a volunteer once in near Baton Rouge.
Oh, wow.
And we had a mini Mardi Gras and somebody gave me their hat. No, we won't go into that. But anyway, sounds like fun. April love, your love of theater will come about. And it's a way to really kind of get out. Now that the rain by that time will have subsided, the sun will come out again tomorrow.
That's a different musical.
I know. I know. So, any closing thoughts? We have over a minute left to share with our people out there.
We're very excited about being part of the exploding theater community in the Willamette Valley, specifically Salem. We start our shows at 8 o'clock usually at night, unless it's a matinee, to give people a little bit of time to go downtown, have dinner, not be rushed, have a drink or two, relax, enjoy the downtown, and then come up in the Reed Opera House, which I have something.
Yes.
Our theater used to be the backstage of the Reed Opera House. So Samuel Clemens, Susan B. Anthony, a couple presidents, all these vaudeville troupes that came through here used to hang out backstage in our space before they went on
Go
stage.
visit the Reed Opera House. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah.
A lot of hidden secrets there.
Oh, man.
One last thing, I hope I have enough time, but give some thought if there's a way the people who are not all that rich or on food stamps and sort of social service, is there a way that they could get a discount ticket if you need to fill the theater?
Yeah.
Stuff like that?
Again, specific circumstances, email me. The whole point of this is to get people to come, and we try and keep our ticket prices low, so that's not an inhibitor.
What do they run?
Right now they're 15.
15. Okay.
Yeah. And that's just covering our costs.
So let Seth know if you have a special financial emergency, and so I thank you for enlightening us for the Verona Theater. Remember, Viva Verona! Bye for now.